Hey there, Minnesota Vikings sports fans. You are listening, as always, to the Purple People podcast. My name is Kyle West. I am accompanied by the man who hails from parts unknown, Adam Carlson.
How's it going? I'm sitting here ready to talk about some Minnesota Vikings football. I am itching so bad for the draft and for preseason to start. They're giving me all this information, and I just want it to go, 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 and get here.
Me too. I am ready, especially for the draft to get here. I want to know who we're gonna pick.
Oh, yeah, we're going to be talking a little bit about some prospects that interest us a bit in a little bit, but
Hmm?
first, I got to do the episode of the title. Title of the episode? Sure.
Sure.
But I'd like to welcome everyone to episode number 97 of the Purple People podcast. This one is titled The Lost Boyd. And I'm going to put a little parentheses in there. I've never actually seen The Lost Boys, so I'm assuming that a lot of people love it.
I will not go off on a large tangent, but I'm actually not a fan.
Well, let's go into the quick hits because we got a couple to get out of the way before we talk about
Hmm.
the players. The first quick hit is that Kyle Rudolph has made a statement that he wants a contract extension as soon as possible. He'd prefer if it was done before the season starts. He loves being a Minnesota Viking and he wants to keep playing here in Minnesota.
Yeah, I have no bones at all with him saying that. And you know what? They probably should give him a contract before the season starts, because after the season starts and he has a monster season, he's probably going to be even more expensive than what it would be to lock him up right now.
I
So,
honestly believe that Kyle Rudolph will get a contract extension after the draft, after they get those players signed. I think that's when you'll see guys like Rudolph and Fusco getting extensions.
I believe so as well too, Adam.
I think those might be the only two guys getting them, though.
You don't think Ponder, eight
You
year
never know.
8 year
If
contract extension for Christian Ponder? Just the
crazier things have happened.
the experiment continues and continues on and on and on, Vikings fans.
I don't know, the Jaguars just paid almost $9 million a year for a center, so you never know.
But they did ditch Blaine Gabbert, so
Yeah, that was a great move by
yeah,
them.
yeah.
I'll give them that one.
I think
The
I think we can send Ponder to the Browns for a draft pick.
A draft pick.
A draft pick. I don't care what round, but they want a veteran quarterback. He's technically a veteran quarterback, so I say we send him for whatever we can get in exchange.
They want Derek Carr, so they'll probably take him and pick up David Carr, then they can have both cars.
Yeah, that's a
Why not?
package deal, right?
But anyway, the Vikings have announced that their off-season workout dates, and they've already started working out some of the optional workouts. We've seen guys like Kyle Rudolph. Uh, I believe Audie Cole was there. We've seen several guys
Matt
do
Castle,
interviews that they're working out. Cordero Patterson's there.
Greg Jennings, I know I've seen him. Captain Munnerlin, he was in a lot of photos over on Vikings.com.
Nice.
Yeah, pretty much. It looks like they have a pretty strong turnout. Historically speaking, the Vikings always have had a pretty decent turnout for their voluntary workouts, so it's nice to see that trend continuing because teams got their work cut out for them. So
Absolutely.
yeah, now's the time to put it in and grind it out and get better.
And news that three-quarters of our listeners won't give a flying crap about. Here, the 2015 Pro Bowl will be held in Arizona instead of Hawaii this year.
Oh,
So I bet a lot of players won't see that as such a big deal because a lot of them thought that the trip to Hawaii was part of the honor, being able to go and spend some time on the ocean and hang out, but instead they're going to Zona, the desert.
wake me up when it's a skills challenge. We've been saying that for the beginning of us doing this podcast. Just replace the Pro Bowl with a skills challenge, and it will be infinitely more interesting to watch on TV.
Make the Pro Bowl quarters half as long, and then have the other time devoted to quarterback drills and just
I,
cool running back, evading blocks
I,
and
I don't even know what.
running around hones, just neat stuff.
Yeah,
Why not? The 2014 preseason schedules were released, and this one was a lot of fun because the Minnesota Vikings' first opponent will be the Oakland Raiders.
yeah. You like the way the first, I think, two opponents have like a really vague date set in place.
What I love about them is that they're both home games,
Hmm.
and the Vikings will be settling into TCF Stadium, also known as the Gopher Hole. I love saying that.
Ah, that's pretty fun.
So it'll give the Vikings a chance to settle in there and get to know the turf and stuff a little bit better
Hmm.
because they're going to have to really work hard to get adjusted to playing in the new stadium.
It's actually going to be fun to watch preseason for a number of reasons this year for us as Vikings fans, and one of them is going to be seeing the team playing outdoors in TCF and how they adjust to it, and how guys like Adrian are going to get accustomed to playing on grass, actual grass. Is it actual grass turf there?
I'm
Or
not
is
sure, to
it?
be honest.
I actually don't know either. I say that, but then I might have to take that back. But anyway, they got to get used to playing outdoors in the elements, regardless of what, if it's natural or field turf. So yeah, it'll be fun to watch.
I'm going to do a quick rundown of the four opponents the Vikings will face during the preseason. They have the Raiders at home, the Cardinals at home, then they go on the road to take on the Chiefs and the Titans. So there's some good games there, some good competition. We should get to see some pretty interesting position competitions, especially after the draft when we see these guys coming in. I love preseason. It just makes my mouth water for the regular season.
I actually was just gonna say the same thing. I love preseason because I love seeing the guys fight it out for positions on the team. I actually legitimately really enjoy watching the twos and threes and
Oh yeah,
sometimes even the fours out there on the field and
seeing
just
what Bradley Randall and Rodney Smith, all these guys
Adam
that are under the
Thielen,
radar.
yeah, just
Yes,
guys that just I love watching them and what they can do and bring to the table. And remember, preseason was when we got our first dose of Audie Cole a
it's
couple of
true.
years back, and we're finally starting to see him settle more into the active roster. So I love it.
It's true. The Vikings are bringing in former Eagles safety Kurt Coleman for a visit. The Vikings are looking to upgrade the safety position opposite Harrison Smith, although I think that Anderson Dejo has played well enough to be given a legitimate shot at starting.
Hmm. Hmm. But
Nope,
competition breeds success. So
absolutely.
yeah, let's see what he can do.
Number 69 is back with the Vikings. Isn't that great news? Well, kind of. Except this time it's Spencer Neely in the jersey. He has taken the number 69, and he will wear it proudly.
Spencer Neely, huh? He's gonna really wear Jared Allen's number.
Hey, that number has been around since before Jared Allen, and it'll be around after Jared Allen.
I know, but still, it always seems weird the first year after a big player leaves the team to have someone else come along and take it.
Well, you can send Spencer Neely a mean email then. That's all you.
I don't care that much. I'm not gonna send him hate mail over it. Like I'm totally fine with him wearing it. I just say it looks a little weird seeing someone else out there with it.
And my last quick hit is an actual signing. The Vikings signed wide receiver from the Texans, Lester Jean,
Hmm.
or Lester Jean, or I don't know, whatever his parents decided to name him. I'll be honest. I've seen him play. I've seen some of his highlights. I've never heard his name said, and I've never pronounced his name myself, so I apologize if I butchered it any of the ways I tried to say it. But either way, he'll be a good guy to bring into camp, compete for a position on the team.
I'm pretty sure that his it's got to be Lester Jean. I don't think he's French, Adam. He was born in Miami, Florida. So
Doesn't mean he's not French. Come on.
I'm gonna assume his name is Lester.
We'll go with that.
Anyway, his one sort of career highlight was he had a 54-yard pass from Matt Schaub that was his first career touchdown that was against the Tennessee Titans in Week 13. It was also his only reception of the game. So that's kind of his one notable stat, other than being on the injured reserve for all of 2011.
And that was the highlight I was talking about that I saw.
Yeah. So there you go. There's the two noticeable things of Lester Jean's illustrious career. We're kind of ragging on the guy. I don't know why, but I wish him the best of luck in Minnesota.
I got nothing to rag on the guy about it.
Yeah.
I'm sure he's a great talent, and I'm excited to see him compete for a position with the team.
Like I said, I love seeing all these guys come into the squad.
And now we're into the meat and potatoes of the show. We're going to talk about the day two draft gems, possibly day three. I don't know how deep Kyle's going to dig in the draft, but
One of mine might go undrafted, but
oh my.
we'll get to that in a minute.
But we're going to start with a guy that I would be absolutely thrilled to see the Vikings pick up in the second round, and that's Kyle Van Noy. He's an outside linebacker out of Brigham Young, 6'3", 243. If you like Chad Greenway, you'll love Kyle Van Noy. I could see the Vikings bookending the linebacker position with Van Noy and Greenway, and then they could even have Audie Cole in the middle. And I think you'd have a very solid tackling group of linebackers, and that it would really help cut down on the running game that the Vikings have faced and been giving up a lot more yards. So Van Noy is another one of those guys too that he can drop back into coverage a lot better than Greenway has in the past. Although I don't think Greenway is terrible in coverage. I think that Van Noy is just a little better.
Chad Greenway gets a bit of a bad rap, but like you said, he's predominantly going to be up there for run support. I feel like that's his strong suit. Um, so getting someone who can drop back into coverage and play a little bit more of the pass, definitely a good deal. Linebacker it's a position of need for the Vikings.
Absolutely.
There's no way around it. We've got guys other than Chad on the squad who can play the position, but you're not really sold on them being any kind of long-term solutions for it. Of course, the jury is still out on a few of them. We'll see maybe what can happen still early on, but definitely it's a spot that I fully expect the Vikings to address in either the second or the third round of this year's draft.
One major reason why I think Kyle Van Noy might be a guy that a team takes late in the first round is because of his versatility.
Mm-hmm.
You could see him playing easily as a 3-4 linebacker or a 4-3. And that's something that a lot of teams look at really valuable is of how versatile a player can be.
Mm-hmm.
You've seen it with the Vikings. They'll draft a player and they don't look at him specifically as a middle linebacker or as a weak side linebacker. They go for guys that can fill different holes and do different jobs.
Mm-hmm.
And Kyle Van Noy is definitely one of those guys.
And we've talked about it in the past, Adam. Mike Zimmer is going to be taking this team towards the direction of players who are hybrid players that can fill multiple roles and play multiple positions on the field.
Absolutely.
Because he's going to want to move guys around here and there, and you're not going to know if they're coming or going in terms of coverage.
And that's one reason why I think Van Noy will be very high on the Vikings draft boards.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
All right, now I'd like to hear you talk about one of the prospects that you have.
Okay, well, I'm not going to go as in-depth as what I did last week with my analysis. So, with that in mind, I am going to talk briefly about A.J. McCarron.
Okay.
I'm sticking with the theme of quarterbacks for this week because that's a position that the Vikings absolutely have to fill, whether it's in the first round or the second round or probably not anything past the second round.
I'm actually going to disagree a little there. I don't think the Vikings need to fill a quarterback this year, but it's not a popular thing to say, but I kind of feel that way.
I think they do because anyway, A.J. McCarron. We're going to talk about A.J. here for a minute.
Okay.
He is a guy that coming out of college, what I like about him is the fact that he already knows how to work out of a pro-style offense, and he can make reads on the field. He's going to be comfortable out there under center pretty much right away. Of course, there's going to be adjustments because you're going from college to the NFL, but it's not like some of these guys who are spread offense have absolutely no work out of a pro offense whatsoever. He is versed in that. I think that is an important thing to have. He's pretty accurate quarterback. What I don't like about A.J. McCarron is the fact that his deep ball and his arm strength, I don't believe, are exactly what you want. Quite frankly, I think a good comparison for A.J. McCarron would be Andy Dalton. I think the two quarterbacks are comparable in Andy Dalton was put in a situation where he had a good number one go-to receiver was given to him right away in AJ Green, and he had some other decent talent that was around him that allowed him to succeed early on in his career. But you can see the ceiling has pretty much already hit for Andy Dalton. Like, he's not, you can win games with him,
Right.
but he's not going to be an elite quarterback in the NFL. Like, he's just going to be a good quarterback that you can win games with. And that is what I view AJ McCarron as. I think he is going to be a good quarterback in the NFL who you can win games with. He will never be elite, but you're going to see him hit his ceiling, I think, fairly early in his career. And that is only if you surround him with a lot of talent. Like, he's going to have, good protection up front. He's going to have receivers who can adjust to the passes and help him look better on the field to succeed. I think AJ McCarron, if he goes kind of a mid-second round to even an early third-round pick, if the Vikings were to pick him up there, that would be a decent enough situation for him to sit underneath Matt Castle for a couple of years and to learn, and then we would have potentially by then enough talent for him to come in to where he could succeed with the team. So I would not be opposed to it, but I would say just understand what you're getting into if you draft AJ McCarron.
I have three major issues with the AJ McCarron.
Mm-hmm.
The first is his footwork. When you watch him in the pocket, sure, he's smart enough to make his reads, but he doesn't set his feet enough, and he doesn't make throws the way he should when he plants his feet and lets it go. He tends to just throw off his back foot sometimes,
Mm-hmm.
and that's something that can be a major problem. The second one is his deep balls suffer from a disease I like to call ponderitis.
Yeah, I know exactly what you mean.
He throws the ball, and you're thinking, sweet, he's wide open, and the ball just kind of floats over to where it's supposed to go. And it's not that he's not accurate. It's not that he can't get the ball there. It's just it doesn't have that velocity, that zip that you want to see in a deep pass to be able to just get it right over the defenders.
Mm-hmm.
It doesn't have that. And the third is, come on, the guy's doing a reality show for his wedding.
Oh, yeah, thank you. I forgot about that. I think that is a little stupid. More than a little, that is a lot stupid.
I mean, I know that Catherine Webb, his fiance, is quite a personality in the social world, I guess. A lot of gentlemen seem to find her to be very attractive and whatnot. But I think that this could be a terrible time for AJ McCarron to be stepping into a spotlight rather than stepping on a practice field.
I, like I said, I really believe that for AJ McCarron to succeed, I don't think he should get the reins right away. He would benefit greatly from going somewhere that has some kind of a starter in place already that he can sit behind, he can learn, like you said, he can work on his footwork. I don't know how much you can really improve upon deep ball strength, whatever, but try to work on that. Try to give him some time to get acclimated and see what he's got a couple years down the line.
I would be comfortable with the Vikings taking AJ McCarron in the late fourth to early fifth round.
Yeah, I think you're underselling him a little, his value a little bit there.
I don't believe I am there, guys.
I think so. I think so. He will be a second round pick.
That would surprise me.
No, I'm pretty confident that he will go in the second round.
That would very much surprise me.
If Tim Tebow was a first round quarterback, AJ McCarron second round.
I don't know. We'll see. We'll see.
Yeah.
The second guy I wanted to talk about was a guy that could drop into the third round, but probably might see in the middle of the second, and that's Stanley Jean-Baptiste.
Mm-hmm.
Now, Stanley Jean-Baptiste is a cornerback, 6'3", 218. He's a big fella. He was originally a wide receiver, so he's got the smarts and the knowledge of what wide receivers have to do, the routes, the stutters, how to handle all that kind of things. His ability to mirror wide receivers is amazing, and he's got a real knack for going for the ball. And those are some things that are great about him. He doesn't have that elite speed. He ran a 4.61 at the combine, but he's got that size and the smarts that let people know that he can harass them at the line or he can mirror them down the field and he can get in there and disrupt passes. He's got the long lanky arms and he's just looks like a smart cornerback. The only real downside to him is that, like I said, he switched over from being a wide receiver, so he doesn't have as much experience at cornerback.
Hmm.
He could use a team with a veteran cornerback or maybe a really good cornerbacks coach. And I think Minnesota has that in Gray. So I don't know. I don't know if the Vikings would be willing to take a risk on a player that may have to develop a touch. But if they see a guy, if they see in him what I see, which is a guy that could develop into being a lot like Brandon Browner was for the Seahawks, I think that they may want to pull the trigger on him, maybe even as early as the second round.
Well, I think for sure Spielman would be fine with taking a player he would have to develop, especially if it's someone that you believe that you can develop into being a really solid starter for your team. I like the idea of pairing him up with Xavier Rhodes out there on the field so far. From what, like I said, I didn't do a ton of research into him, but I do like him, and I do think he is a good prospect, and I would be totally fine with him coming to Minnesota. I wouldn't be so worried about him being, a converted wide receiver that went into, he's now playing a corner. But like you said, you maybe have to spend a little bit of extra time getting him up to speed, up to par with, where you want him to be at a professional level. But that is kind of what the difference between a guy being a first round versus a second round,
Yep.
late third round is. Because if he didn't have that, well, he'd probably be a first round pick.
It's true.
Uh-huh.
All right, so let's hear about your second and final gentleman, I believe.
You ready for this one?
No, I'm not.
I'm not really either, but I'm talking about him because I know he's a name that Vikings fans have brought up when we talk about the quarterback position and people to draft. I am, of course, talking about Taj Boyd, who, here's a positive, his name is really fun to say out loud.
It is, and it's fun to spell.
Yeah, it is. Taj Boyd. Now, let's completely trash Taj Boyd and hope he is not listening to this week's Purple People podcast because Taj Boyd is largely undraftable. Would you say that would be a fairly accurate grade?
Last week I said that I think he could be undraftable.
Uh-huh.
He could go undrafted. A team might take a late round flyer on him. You never know. But at this point, from what I've seen on tape, I'm not sure that he's going to be having his name called, not even on day 3.
If he goes before the 5th round, I would be pretty surprised. Although you never know with the quarterback position, it's really tough to tell. Teams will reach for that one.
Absolutely, especially if they think a quarterback can develop into something special.
Taj Boyd scares the holy bejesus out of me when you watch him on game film. He strikes me as a gimmicky kind of quarterback who wants to run wildcat read option kinds of stuff when he's out there, and I just don't. I'm okay with a little dibble dabble of that, but you're not going to make a living doing that in the NFL. He's fairly small, 6'1". He makes strange decisions on the field with the football on where he wants to go with it. I don't like his presence in the pocket. I don't like his presence out of the pocket.
Ouch.
I am just all the tape that I watched on him. It's like you see him. I don't know. I just don't have anything good to say about him.
Well, there are some positives to Taj Boyd. he gets a nice throw on the ball. His ball, when he throws the ball, it does have some zip.
Hmm.
So it doesn't always have to be a floater or something like that. He can throw the hard passes, and he does have a nice touch to his passes. He generally, when he does get completions, he throws them in places that only his wide receivers can get them when he's set in the pocket. So, and a lot of people have a higher grade on him because of his ability to run with the football. And I think that that's a skill that the NFL doesn't have as highly rated as college football does. But I do
Here's
agree that his major weakness is the scheme he played in,
mhm.
because a lot of his completions were short completions that turned into extra yards after the catch. And that helped really make his statistics look fantastic. And it's not that Taj Boyd is a bad quarterback. It's just I don't think he's ever really gotten too many options to show off what he's got. I think he was asked to manage the game rather than try to win the game. And to me, that can really hamper the way a quarterback plays and his effectiveness in even finding an open wide receiver at times because he's afraid to turn the ball over.
And here's the thing about trying to watch any kind of tape on Taj Boyd. About 30 seconds into it, no matter what, I don't care what game you pick, you start watching it and you go, man, that Sammy Watkins is pretty good.
Yeah.
Even if you're not trying to watch Sammy Watkins, you end up watching Sammy Watkins because he is that good of a player. Uh, the the personnel around Taj Boyd made his life incredibly easy in
Yeah.
college. Assuming that he gets drafted to, I don't know, a team that has that type of talent out there at receiver, you could maybe win a couple games here or there with him, but I don't view him as any kind of answer for quarterback. I don't want the Vikings to draft him.
Well,
On
here's what I see as the best situation for Taj Boyd out there. The best situation for him is fifth or sixth round. The Seattle Seahawks draft him to back up Russell Wilson.
to back up Tavares Jackson, backing up Russell Wilson, right?
Well, no. Uh, they could cut ties with T-Jack then and save a bunch of money.
Nah, I would keep T-Jack. Actually, Taj Boyd will probably be able to make a 10-year career in the NFL by being a career backup because he's a smart kid. I honestly do believe that he's a smart kid who he'll probably pick up enough of an offense to be able to run it. He'll always look decent enough in training camp and in preseason, and it'll be kind of I don't know what you want to call it, the Curtis Painter sort of thing, where he can
Yeah.
go in on a drive here or there when Peyton Manning comes out, not even a drive, a play here or a play there, and he could do it. And if potentially you had to start him for a quarter or whatever, you could do it. But,
Well, here's a quick question for you.
okay,
If the Jacksonville Jaguars take Sammy Watkins with their first round selection,
uh-huh.
do you think they could come back in the middle of the draft and grab Taj Boyd as a compliment?
Well, why the hell not? I mean, that would make sense actually. If you're going to draft him, the team that drafts Sammy Watkins, if they don't have an established quarterback in, if you can get Taj Boyd, you know they have good chemistry together already, and if you're confident in your O-line being able to protect him, and the rest of your staff, your quarterback staff, to develop him, that'd be an interesting scenario, and that would probably be the best scenario for Taj Boyd.
Absolutely.
Hmm.
The last guy I wanted to talk about, because I know we're probably running a little long, is Anthony Steen, the guard from Alabama. If you know anything about offensive lines from Alabama, you know they're all big fellas,
Yeah,
and they are all some of the best players that will come out of the NFL draft. And
dominant.
Steen's no different. 6'3", 314 pounds. He is a road grader. You look at the guy, and he's a brick wall. Seriously. But he has the feet to where he can move side to side and be able to pull for a running back. And to be honest, he is a guy that I would love to see come in and get a shot at taking over that left guard position from Charlie Johnson.
I'm right with you, Adam. I am the team desperately. I don't care what anyone says. They desperately need someone to replace Charlie Johnson. They need to get younger, more aggressive and versatile out there on the field. And like you said, Alabama, the man, Crimson Tide, when it comes to having an O line, they're just dominant. I think is the word that.
I don't know how they do it in recruiting, but they always seem to get these unbelievable linemen, and it makes things so much easier on any Alabama quarterback or running back that goes there. I think that might be one reason why they get so many big recruits, is because they can get these linemen.
Hmm. And it would almost be if they could get him, I don't want to say an immediate upgrade over Charlie Johnson, but
I don't know.
it,
I watched a lot of tape on him, and he wasn't on the ground a lot. So
I would say that it'd be pretty darn close to an immediate upgrade over Charlie Johnson, new contract or not.
but sadly, the Vikings usually wait until round 5, 6, or 7 to go after guards,
Which I think is
and
a
they do have guys like Becca and Berger there to compete for the position, so they may want to wait. But if Anthony Steen is on the board, or as I like to call him, Kill Steen, if you're a big fan of Ring of Honor wrestling, I think they should take a look at him in the 4th to 5th round, if possible.
Mhm. I think so too, and it's another pick that I would see a Rick Spielman kind of move.
Absolutely. He knows the importance of lines. You saw what he did for the defensive line in free agency.
Hmm.
Even the offensive line, he
I want
brought
to.
back Charlie Johnson and brought in Vladimir Ducasi, brought back Charlie Johnson. I
Uh-huh.
think I already said that.
Yeah.
But yeah, he knows the importance of a line and how important linemen are in winning games.
I like our O line. Don't get me wrong. Obviously Khalil Sullivan and Lode Holt. But I do want to see this line get beefed up, get more aggressive, get better in pass protection, because that will not only help out Adrian Peterson, but that's going to help out Matt Castle. And that's going to help out the rest of the receivers and the rest of the team as well too. Is that you want to have, at least in my opinion, just a big old aggressive line there up front. Just guys.
And one reason Steen might fall in the draft and why he might be able to be there as a value pick is because he had shoulder surgery back in December, and that kept him from the combine and a lot of the workouts. So he might be a bit under the radar as far as a lot of the scouts have him. So we could see Anthony Steen being, hopefully, a nice budget pickup.
Mhm. Mhm. I hope so.
And that's all I have for this week. Do you have anything else you'd like to add?
No, I don't. That does it for my notes for this week.
All right, sounds good. I'd like to thank everyone for listening. Check out Kyle at Purple People Pod on Twitter. Check me out on Facebook. Just check me out because I need it. Give me a thumbs up every once in a while. I like that. And don't forget to stay classy, Minnesota.